Good day, my name is Scott Kinney with Discovery Education, and it is my pleasure today to be joined for our One Idea series by Rafranz Davis. Rafranz is an incredible educator who is currently the Instructional Technology Specialist in Arlington ISD in Texas. Was giving me a hard time because it's significantly warmer there than it is where I am today. Has taught math at all levels, an impressive scope from second grade all the way till the 12th grade level. And as I mentioned, is an incredible presenter, but also an author, recently writing the book, The Missing Voices in EdTech, Bringing Diversity into EdTech. So, Rafranz, why don't we start there? The word voices in that title kind of pops out of me. What do you mean by voices?
Definitely. For me, it was as I was even titling this book and thinking about what it really was about, the word voices just signifies ideas and ideas from different perspectives, whether it be from students, parents, community members, teachers, the administrators, or anyone that is invested in what happens in that school system. It's every one of us.
Now, how do you see that play out, that kind of looking at those multiple voices in Arlington? Why is that so important from your perspective?
I think one of the most incredible things that we do is the Technology Action Committee, where when we're getting ready to make decisions for our school, whether that be how to spend our bond money for technology or how to start new initiatives, we have a table, and around that table are students, community members, parents, teachers, administrators. It's everyone, and I've noticed just how it's not a single two or three people making every single decision. We get input from the people that we're actually impacting. I mean, one particular situation comes into mind where we're talking about devices for all of our, our device standard for all of our students. And we were thinking about Chromebooks. And our high school students said, well, wait a minute, there are classes that I have to take that need a little bit more power than what a Chromebook can provide. So can we talk about that? And we had not considered that at all. So it was a really eye-opening experience. But then the other side of that are the diversity within those groups. Are we seeing women at the table? Are we seeing people of color at the table? I mean, how does that look? Because I come from a different background than a lot of different people, and sometimes the background that I have can influence how we do something. And I think it's important that we talk about all of those different aspects of diversity, depending on not just depending on, but however we're serving our kids in our schools.
Now, it seems like a bit of a cultural change to some degree. Has it always been like that at Arlington, or is this something that people consciously think about and have implemented over time?
Actually, this has only been in the last few years, but I would love to take the credit for that change. It was not me. That change actually started as I think Arlington hired a different director of technology and brought in some different people within the administrative structure, and those minds together said, hey, we can't make these decisions by ourselves. We need to bring in a lot more people. And at the same time, if you look at the support structure of our school, you walk into that room and you see a plethora of people that came from all types of backgrounds. And coming from where I lived previously to Arlington, this was the first time that I've ever seen that before.
Now, Rafranz, you are nationally known within the educational technology community, even if you won't admit it. But have you seen it in places where those voices aren't taken into account? And if so, what do you miss? What do you lose in that environment?
I can give you a kind of a direct example. Around the time when this country has gone through a series of issues over the past year in terms of social justice. And I'll use for an example when the Ferguson, Missouri in 2014. And as we were talking about different ideas on Twitter, we're watching these conversations happen on all sorts of hashtags, even the ones coming out of Missouri, and nobody was talking about that. At the same time, you had an entire community protesting, and not one person was talking about it. They were still talking about apps and tools and all of the other things we talk about, but not really anything like that. And it some of us. So we did start questioning it and saying, hey, can we talk about this? Because some of our kids are seeing this and they're coming in and they want to talk about it. And maybe this is a time to really dig into some history and to tie, what's happening now with some different instances of the past. And let's see where we can go from there and how we can help bridge our student thoughts, our community thoughts, and really to kind of wrap our mind around what the people of Ferguson were dealing with. And it's so funny when I think about even some of the other educators that I've worked with across the country. Sometimes you just don't think about that. You're so stuck kind of in the silo of thought that you're in that you don't realize that I might need to consider some of these things. I might need to talk about how this looks in my school district. So I'm going to say that has not been the case consistently throughout, because if you had someone, if you were really listening to the voices around you or the people that you're impacting, then that might change the way you think and the way you talk in these spaces.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great example. I mean, I think about how do you honor the diversity of our students if you don't have the different voices of that diversity represented in some of the decision making.
Right.
So, which kind of leads me to the next question, which is, okay, I'm a school system leader or maybe even a building leader. Where do I start if this isn't part of my culture? I mean, how do I start to change that mindset and really incorporate these different voices?
I'll tell you, for me, the difficult part of even writing that book was confronting my own thoughts. I had no idea how I kind of saw the world when I started writing. I would think about walking into a room and not being bothered that maybe I was the only woman of color, but then I was more bothered because I might have been the only woman. And so it really made me come back full circle and say, okay, maybe the first thing that they have to do is confront their own thoughts. And that's, I think, one of the first challenges that I give school leaders in my book is, what are your thoughts on the diversity of your school? What are your thoughts on how the impact of the technology in your school and how the mix of how that diversity matters to begin with? And then after that, you need to look at the people around you and say, do the people around me represent the people that we serve, the community that we serve? And if they don't, then it becomes, maybe I need to create some systems to bring in others. Maybe I do need to listen before I just go spend the money. You have to see what are the needs and make sure that you are addressing those.
Rafranz, I'm watching. I want to know more. The Missing Voices in EdTech, where do I find that?
Corwin Press, I believe it's Sage Publications, you can get it. You can also get it on Amazon. It's available as a digital edition on Kindle, and you can get it as an ebook through Sage Publications.
No Audible version that you're reading?
Not yet. I've not heard that was a plan, and I don't think I would read it. I think I would get someone else to do it.
All right, Rafranz Davis, currently the Instructional Technology Specialist at Arlington ISD, and truly an inspiring individual, an inspiring leader, and an inspiring educator. Thanks for joining me today, Rafranz.
Thank you for having me.
Take care.
You too.